Hello everyone, myself Ketan Bhavsar, Assistant Professor in LG Engineering College, Ahmedabad. In today's session, we discuss about embedded softwares, interrupt latency, what exactly the meaning of interrupt is, and the process states. From unit number 6, software architecture and real-time scheduling in embedded systems. So now just go ahead and we discuss about embedded softwares, interrupt latency, and process states. Now, the requirement of embedded software. The first question arises in our mind: why the software is requirement? What is the software? So, to operate any hardware, to operate any embedded devices, it requires to operate with the software program. It requires to operate with the software skill. It's called as a embedded software. To approach for the embedded system design device programmer, when the software development cyclic ends, then the cyclic begin from the process of integrating the software into the hardware at the time when the system is designed. So both the cycle concurrently process when the code design a time critical sophisticated system. For designing any embedded system, it is required to design a hardware part as well as the software part. For designing the software portion, we have to go with the software environmental part, and according to the software environment part, we have to design the hardware equipment. So basically, we have to deal with the requirements of embedded and softwares. Choose the right platform. Processor, ASIP or ASSP, multiple processors, system on chip, memories, other hardware units of the system, and buses. So choose a right platform. If you want to work in any embedded devices, the most important part is that you have to choose a right platform. You have to choose a right hardware. You have to choose a right programming languages. You have to choose a specific tool for the system. So these are the few points that we have to take care when we're designing any embedded software. Software languages, as I already told you, RTOS means real-time operating system, code generated tools, tools for the finally embedding the software into the binary images. So basically we are dealing with this particular portion when you're talking about a platform, when you're talking about to choose any specific embedded device, when we have to deal with choose any specific hardware part. Interrupt latency. What is interrupt latency? A period between the occurrence of an interrupt and start of execution of the ISR, interrupt service routine. So the time taken in context switching also included in a period. It's called the interrupt latency TLAT. T-L-A-T. See, the context switching we already discussed in the previous session from chapter number 4. The ISR we already discussed in the previous session. So the time taken in the context switching is also included in period. So that particular period is called as an interrupt latency. So we have very few types of interrupt latency. If you're talking about the minimum interrupt latency period, so the TLAT is the sum of the period as follow. Time to be taken is for the response and the initialization, the ISR instruction. This includes the time to save or switch the context in terms of including the program counters and register plus the time to restore its context. So basically, if you're talking about the latency in terms of the minimum time period, then we have to follow this time strategies. Minimum latency and context switching period. If you're talking about the minimum latency, when the interrupt service start immediate on context switching, the interrupt latency is equal to T switching time is equal to context switching period. When the instruction in a processor take variable clock cycle, minimum clock cycle for an instruction are taken into the account for calculating the latency. If you're talking about the latency period in terms of the calculating the time variation, then we have to calculate the minimum latency is equal to context switching is equal to T switching time. So the latency in the case of interrupt service start immediate. If you're talking about the latency in terms of the start immediate, so first of all, you will make sure that this one is the ISR mode, means interrupt service routine mode, and this one is the processor interrupt at time T0. Start after the time T0 plus T take only where the TTAC is a context switching time. TTAC is considered as a context switching time. So interrupt latency is equal to TTAC only where the TTAC is a context switching time for saving the running program content and loading the new routing content. So basically, if you're talking about the processor in terms of the service routine start immediately, then you have to follow the T0 and TTAC time, T0 plus TTAC. So basically, the TTAC is an interrupt latency period in terms of context switching. Now, if you're talking about the latency on context switching to and higher priority interrupts, when the interrupt service does not start immediate by the context switching, but the context switching start after all the ISR correspond to the higher priority interrupts and complete the execution. So, if the sum of the time interval for the completing the higher priority ISR is equal to summation of T execution time, then the interrupt latency is equal to T switching plus the summation of T execution time. So it's called as a higher priority interrupt. It's called as a higher priority execution of the task. Now worst case latency. The sum of the period T switch, summation of T execution time and T disable, where the sum of all the interrupts of higher priority only in terms of worst case latency. If you're talking about the worst case latency, then we have to consider the summation of all the switching time of T switching, summation of execution, T disable time and etc. Minimum latency. The sum of the period T switch and the T disable when the interrupt is of highest priority. So basically if you're talking about the interrupt with the highest priority, then we have to follow the switching time in terms of the periods T switch and T disable when the interrupts of highest priority. It's a minimum latency period. ISR or task deadline. What exactly the meaning of ISR and task deadline? For every source, there may be a maximum period only up to which the service of its all ISR instructions can be kept pending. This period defined to the deadline period. Definitely, if you're talking about the processors, and in previous session we already see, in terms of the RTOS, we have a state like ideal, ready, running, execute, or we can say that the whole period, right? And mainly we have to focus on ideal, ready and running, right? So if it will check the pending instruction set and the total time will be calculated, the time D, it's called as a deadline time. TD is during which the execution must be completed. It's called as a deadline. We are very familiar with the word of deadline, right? Interrupt latency period and the deadline for an interrupt. So as you can see, the execution of the time of a routine new event of the ISR, the context switching time. So interrupt latency should be such that the deadline of the new event ISR is not missed. If the processor is busy for executing any task, then make sure that your task, your instruction, your new ISR event will never lose. If it will lose, then definitely it will miss the instruction set, and if it will miss the instruction set, then ultimately we can say that our processor is not work properly. It is not a real-time execution on data. Now process. Now in this session we discuss about the process also, because in previous session we discussed about the latency. Now we discuss about the process. What is process? The process consists of the execution of the program state of which is controlled by the OS, means which we can be controlled by the OS. So the state during the running of a process represented by the process state, it's a running, blocked and finished, and process structure, it's a data, object and resources and the program control block. So if you're talking about the process, then ultimately the process consists of the execution of the program state of which is controlled by the OS, means how we can control and manage it by the OS. Now the state of processes represented by the process status, the state of running or blocked or waiting or finished means the process is, it is in running state, it is in blocked state, it is in waiting state, or is it in finished state. Then we can identify process structure, data, object and resources and process control block. Now you can understand the concept of process. As you can see, if you have a number of processes like process 1, process 2, process n-1 and up to process n. So you can see that in previous session we also see that the task, in each and every task have that O1 task control block. Here similarly we are talking about the process control block for process 1, process control block for process 2, process control block for process up to n. So unit of computational execution of code in which is controlled by the OS scheduler, the interrupt, process communication, resource manager, system memory and other system resources we can be managed, or we can say that the control with help of the process control board. Now what is process control block? The consists of the information about the process state, a data structure having the information of the process other than the kernel. So OS control the state of the process using that information, and the information stored in protected memory area. So every process control block, every process control block have their own ID, that own priority, present process, child process, address to the next process PCB which will run. So basically, if you're talking about any process control block, then that every process have these points. Allocated process heap for the generation of the data and addresses. Allocated process stack addresses for the function, it's called during the running of the process. Allocated addresses of the CPU register, save area, or you can say that the same area of process context switching or CPU register, which include the program counter and stack pointer. Allocated addresses for the CPU and as well as allocated data for the memory and context switching. So basically these are the basic requirements, or these are the basic steps is included when you're talking about any type of processes. Because if you're talking about any type of processes, then each and every process have that own ID, that priority, that have parent process, child process, means we can say that the sub processes, then their over addresses in terms of the stack pointer, program counter, process heaps for run the program or generate the programs, registers, CPU registers, and many more. So I hope that you are getting the idea what exactly I am trying to convey. How we can say that a process is running or not, how we can say that the process is in block rest state, wait state or not, it is in finish state or not, that we can identify with help of the process control block. And also we can identify what exactly the latency is. How you can choose any type, or we can say that any specific processors, that you also see in this particular slide or in this session, because the component choose in terms of the hardware part is play a main role, and also similarly in terms of software side, the choose of the programming language, choose of the tool, it's play a main role, right? So I hope that you are getting the idea in this session, that we learn how to choose any specific software part or hardware part for the embedded system, interrupt latency, what exactly interrupt is, then also the process and process control block. Still, if you have any doubt which is related to this topic, then you can feel free to contact me. So thank you for watching.